Reloading partnership, but especially to the online toolkit of Democracy Reloading. Of course, within 2 hours, we will not be able to explore the whole toolkit, but you can consider it as a teaser for a further or possible long-term learning and training. Okay, to present myself better, my name is Ali Sassi. I come from Belgium, Brussels. I've been working in the youth field for already 20 years now. Nowadays, I'm a freelance trainer and facilitator. And my interest to democracy learning has, in fact, combination that I was a stakeholder and part of the creation of youth council in the city of Molenbeek in Brussels in 2016. And now I give the floor to my colleagues, Patricia and Laszlo.
Okay, hello, good afternoon to everyone. Welcome. I'm Patricia. I'm a freelancer trainer. I'm also a sociologist right now. In my daily work, I develop. Sorry, just a minute to mute. I develop a program in a formal school with no formal education, and I'm also involved in some trainings internationally. And why I'm here? I'm here since 2018, when the Portuguese National Agency chose me to represent the facilitators in the Portuguese delegation. And since then, I'm working with the topic and with the team, and I'm here. Last year with Lazo, we developed a training in Budapest, the first training for municipalities. And we keep going working. Welcome to everyone. And I give the floor to Laszlo.
Hello, my name is Laszlo Földi. I live in Budapest, Hungary. I have an experience in the youth field and youth policy for about 30 years, from local, municipal to national and European level. I was also working for government. I was working for the European Union, for the Council of Europe. And in the last 12 years, I'm a freelance trainer and consultant. And in the last 8 years, this is probably one of the tip of my heart, is to develop this project on developing local democracies with the help of youth work and youth policy. So here we are, the coordinator of this great partnership of 20 countries. And this is the 6th webinar that we are organizing, with all the lessons learned and with all the challenges that we have in the online world. So I wish you a very fruitful 2 hours. We will try to make sure that it's useful, fruitful, and enjoyable for you. Thank you.
Okay, now you have your statements, and you need to choose the statement that are more connected with your reality. We know that some of you don't work in the municipality, but you can imagine your municipality, you can imagine your local reality, and also you can imagine your daily work in your organization on when you work with young people. Main ideas that you write in the Jamboard. Okay.
Breakout room number 2.
You are a lot of people there, huh?
Yeah, there was a lot of people. Have we someone to
share? Because I'm alone in this main room. Someone?
Yeah, Sarah or Los or Clemence or Maria or.
I will try it, but I don't know if someone wants to add something. So what to say? We share ideas about how to engage young people. So my experience is about try to introduce here in the municipality the Erasmus program and the European Corps of Solidarity. That can be one of the tools that we can use. But a lot of other people in reality try to move the focus on how we can engage young people and which are the most difficult part of that. So one of us tell about how we can arrive to all the young people, not only the people that are interested, but also the others, so that are not interested. So these are the most difficult part, I think. We had also the role of the responsibilization of the young people. So that are two things that go straight. I don't know if someone want to add something.
Okay. Okay, if I understand, you talk about how we can engage the young people that are not in the structures, that are not in the organization, that are not sometimes in school, but we need to bring them to this participation and this decision making. And
yeah,
yeah.
Sorry. No, what I understood about that is that it is really difficult to arrive to everyone. So when we share something with young people in our municipality, we know that are kind of people, of young people that are interested in these kind of activities, and others that maybe they didn't know nothing about that. So okay. This is the target, I think. But
okay, thank you, Sarah. Wazu?
Maybe we can also ask the question: do we need to involve all young people in this dimension or this level of engagement?
What do you mean?
Well, you need.
We have two raised hands.
Yeah, it's Wolf, and after Wolf, William.
Lillian.
Okay.
Yeah, should I go first?
Yes,
yep.
Wolf.
I think it's a good question. I wrote the post-it, and I said the interested few. I think we should make it accessible for everybody who wants to. We should take away, stick up in the way that people can access the municipality and they can engage if they want to. And I think for us as a municipality, we should really go out there, and we really should connect with the people and try our best to get those people who don't even know we exist, who don't even know we make policy for them, for their future. I think we should try to engage them. And then there, of course, will be people who say, no, I'm not interested. And I think that's great. That's also a possibility, and we should respect that. This discussion came forth because someone suggested the political parties have young, there are also youngsters active in political parties. But I think we should not only focus on them, and we should broaden our horizon and really try to include everybody who wants to.
Thank you, Lois. And Lillian.
Yes, I don't work in the municipality. I work as a teacher in an upper secondary school. And I don't know how this is organized in other countries, but my understanding of engaging young people is that the most important arena for that is in school, because that's where everyone is, or at least that is the case in Norway. I suppose it depends on whether you have private institutions and different kinds of school systems, but we have basically public schooling. So I don't know how, to what extent young people learn about democratic processes and how to reach them in municipalities and schools throughout Europe.
Leanne, I just want to say that I don't know if young people aren't interested in this topic, or they are not interested in the way that we work this topic. I don't know. For me, it's a big question, but I just bring this for the food for thoughts. Okay, if no one wants to say something about this topic, the breakout room. Sorry, Laszlo, I don't see you.
Yeah, I think we are opening a lot of very interesting debates and discussions. Of course, this webinar will be not able to cover all the issues, but I think it's very interesting to ask the question: is the school always the relevant place to engage young people in decision makings? Because it's a formal education, and sometimes we also see that some youngsters are not so active and not so successful in schools. So maybe for them, sometimes this NGO context or out of school context is more helpful to engage them in certain ways, and they could be more active because it's a second chance for them to speak their voice. The other question is of course, it's interesting to try to reach everybody, which is, I think, was a very valid point from I think it was Lois, is to bring the information as much as possible. And what I would emphasize very much is to create the real opportunity, because for some people to take part in certain level of discussions, there is a lot of burden or a lot of limits of that. So maybe the youth work and the municipal youth policy can maybe lower these thresholds for young people to be able to speak their voice, which could be a very interesting way to engage also young people who have less opportunities or who are less privileged in terms of education, in terms of family background or social level or different issues. Just I wanted to emphasize this because I think it's very important. Thank you.
Okay, it's the time, it's flying, and we need to go further to the breakout room number 3. Sorry, I know that it's a lot of thoughts coming up, but we need to go further. And I asked to someone to share what's happened in the room, the breakout room number 3. Vera, you have your...
Yeah, I was in the breakout room number 3.
Good. Thank you.
I think we spent a lot of time introducing ourselves. So we talked about how it's important. The first step is important to gain the trust of the young people, and one of the steps that was said was to create non-formal events or a non-formal way also to get to know the young people and to get them involved as well, but also ask them how they want to be engaged and how do they want to be involved as well, just to know in general. There was also the question asked, like if we should, like, how can we involve, like, how can we approach like every student? And then I said university, schools and schools, but also then there's this should also be by a non-formal way as well, so everyone has the accessibility and the ability to get involved, even if they don't have the privilege of going on in an education. And I also wrote down to maybe create points, or even if it's not, I didn't say this because we didn't have a lot of time, but I wrote down create information sessions or days where they could set up and create, also to explain youngsters how to get involved, or which associations to join to take action and also be involved, not only in schools but in general, that we create information sessions or places where it's available for everyone and they can gather information and know how to get involved as well, and why is it important to participate as well.
Thank you, Vera. And it reminds me a question that is, do you think that young people start a new way of democracy in the future? But it's some question that I have in my mind always. Anyone to want to comment or make a question to Vera or to the group of the breakout room number 3? Maybe I can ask people to turn off the micro, if you don't mind. It's here. Okay, good. Can we step forward to the next breakout room? Wazu, do you want to say something? No. Okay.
Yes, I represent group number 4.
Good, Maris, thank you.
And basically we were 2 persons at the end, so it's a very small representative. And especially I wanted to bring the experience. We exchange our experience, and especially Imatan from Croatia. She's part of a municipality, so was the real part engaged there. And she described the situation there because they have, for instance, a youth council in her country, in her town, but the guys have only advisory role. They cannot make decision about the city and about youth policies. And so it's more representative than real process of participation. The question is, how can we make a step forward in this process? And talking about other youth services, there was also, they have active NGOs that activate process of participation. They have a youth centers since 12 years, run by NGO, but taking care not of real process of participation, but offering homework support or free time leisure activities. And another question was blowing in our mind was how which activity or which process also for NGOs can be stimulating more participation, also in a formal and non-formal environment. Like a youth center, it's a kind of formal and non-formal, it depends how it's managed. And yes, also about talking about school, just small reflection, but Laszlo already said how can be, is there a place where can be engaged process of participation? So this is more or less our many questions, few answers, and that's all.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the sharings with the main group. I think it's coming up with a lot of questions. It's not a closed topic. It's a huge topic and with a lot of questions, but also some answers. And maybe the toolkit can help you to discover these answers.
Toolkit, it's a combination of 24 competence elements, as you can see. 4 main tasks on the column here. First main task, creating a supportive environment within the municipality to involve young people in decision making. This is the first main task. Second one is how to empower young people, their organization, their communities to participate in a municipal decision making. It's about how to reach everyone, as you said. How to develop policies, strategies, and structure for this kind of youth participation in decision making. And finally, how to manage this participation and how to validate its impact. These are the 4 main competences for a local authority. And in the row, you can see they are organized on 2 competences for each row. For attitude, and when we could talk about attitude, we are talking about value, it's always based on. So we have 2 competence in the attitude for the first task, 2 competence for knowledge, 2 competence in the scale. So for each task, you'll find 6 competence to complete the whole framework. You can also notice that we have a last row called organization organizational environment. And this is the aimed or the targeted expected impact. If in the presence of the 24 competence element, we can talk about municipal level engaging successfully young people in decision making. What you can also notice on the framework that some of the competence are written in bold. We call them key competences because they are the most important one to have in this process, and we will see them deeper on the second part of the webinar.
You're with the framework yet, so I have to get to know it. But the thing you said that triggered me was it's based on academic resources, and I think that's really good. So I'm curious to find out more. And I like the exercises to really get to work with the skill and to develop it more. So I'm curious to find out more.
There is a lot also funny ones on this guy.
In a perfect world, people working in a municipality, working with young people, they have all the 24 competencies perfectly available. I mean, this is in a perfect world. Of course, in the reality, it's not as perfect as usual. But in some municipalities, they are quite good. And that was also in the beginning of the research. It started almost 8 years ago when we started to work with this concept. The big question was, what makes youth participation in decision making work in certain municipalities, and in certain municipalities it doesn't work. And then you look at the legislation, you look at the local and governmental national level legislation. It doesn't mean anything. Even if there is a good legislation, sometimes it doesn't work. At the end of the day, we found out, and the interviews all said that it's always the people. It's always the people who have the right attitude, have the right skills, and the required knowledge to carry out these activities. So that's how we ended up in these 24 competencies, which is it looks a lot, but it's not that much if you look into it a little bit closer. And especially if you only look at the 8 key competencies, which is easy to grasp, much easier to look at, and easier to start with, not immediately with the 24 competencies, not to be so frightening or not to make people afraid of this tool. So we really invite you to use it as a learning tool, first of all, which can be used individually, but also collectively, because the system allows to register from the same municipality. So for example, if Lois, you register from, I don't know, what is your municipality? I don't know exactly.
Nijmegen, really good.
Nijmegen. So if you invite your colleagues to also register with exactly the same name, maybe it's already in the system. If not, you can add it. Then automatically the system will look at the learning process of you collectively as well as individually. So if you look at the progress bar on the dashboard on the front, it will show the collective learning process of everybody who is registered from that municipality. So with this, you can also create a learning community with the stakeholders that you want to work with or that you have to work with.
Is back to the toolkit, and now you have more time to go there, but now with a specific task that we ask you. And for that, I just share with you. Give me 1 second. And we will have 4 rooms, and we split you randomly And I will share these slides in the chat for you, you know what the topic of your breakout room. And the task is you go to this competence that you are in your breakout room, and you go to the exercise that we have there in the toolkit, and you work together in small groups in this exercise. To share the main ideas that you have in breakout room number 2. We start for there. And I can just share the topic with you just for you know what we talk about. Okay, good. Anyone?
Mateusz? I can share the outcomes from the breakout room 2.
2, okay. Good, Matheus. Thank you.
Basically, we were discussing who are the our task was to make a list of those people who are able to who are the relevant stakeholders at the local level who can improve the youth participation in decision-making processes. And we made a short list. Of course, it's not very it's very generic because not at each local level you have basically different people and different context. But we were thinking about members of the municipal council, especially about the committee that is responsible for the field of youth workers from the municipality, if there are any, as well as municipality officers who have influence in this field, local youth organizations, and other local actors that have power, like, for example, director of schools, or local political party, or even informal actors that do not have formal power but have a big influence in some contexts, such as head of the local church. We're also discussing that there is a possibility to contact some national associations that then can delegate maybe some advocacy power to the local level and influence local decision makers.
Lifestyle, culture and art, and even also more concrete things like security and of the environment, and kind of these things. You can complete, guys. I don't know if I was really resuming all the discussion. Maria.
Yes, I just wanted to say that something that I wrote in the chat, that the relationship is very important to arrive to the young people from A to Z. I think that this is the main goal that we debate, but after we debate some other questions, but we don't have enough time. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a matter of time also.
Okay, thank you for your sharings. And last but not the least, the breakout room number 4.
So
Sabrina.
Yeah, Sabrina is here. Okay, so yeah, 3 main points. The first one is that we noticed that after pandemic, it's always harder to engage and to target young people, especially people with special needs. And so we have to work on this point because of the isolation of young people, which is more important when you have special needs and fewer opportunity. We saw that during the pandemic with we can say the lack of ability of the people to adapt quickly sometimes. So yeah, it makes them the life more difficult than others young. There was a point about phone addiction on that makes them vulnerable. and also how to put them out of their comfort zone. When we speak about phone addiction or iPad or I don't know what, we can speak also about fake news on how these young people are a bit lost in the informations, on how we can help them also to identify this fake news, to give them the methodology. And so we have to build activities to engage them, but not activities like school, as you said, for non-formal activities, but also very original activities where they can identify themselves. And also we find that politics is very boring for young people, and it's always the same speaking for them, and that they are not that much interested for this kind of reasons. And we want to show them that it's not so boring, and to show them with the use of other young people. So what is good is to train young people to speak to other young people. Then it's another synergy, another logic that we put in place. So I took the case of Luxembourg, where we are proud to have a political participation project where we are training young people to have the competencies to go to other young people and to do workshops and to use non-formal education. And also we are investigating the gamification process, how we can use the gamification to be more, to attract them better. So yes, I think it was our point. Thank you,
Sabrina.
Some of the most important information about the partnership, which is called Democracy Reloading. The aim of the partnership, which you already understand very well, is to develop local democracies through engaging young people in municipal decision making. And mainly, and not only, we have this online toolkit, which is already available in several languages, and we are working on to have it available in other languages in the coming years, which is based on the competencies. It's a learning tool, which is clear. It's individual or collective learning tool. I think to the question which Ali was asking, if it is possible or how it is possible to use this learning tool in the everyday work of the municipality, maybe the answer would be no. Probably you cannot use it in the everyday work of the municipality, but in certain occasions, in very specific contexts, you can use it very well with colleagues as well as with other stakeholders in the process. The other objective that we have is to invite municipalities to become more active and to mobilize the municipalities, because we know that in Europe about only 40% of local municipalities have actually some kind of youth engagement in decision making happening. So there is still a lot of space to mobilize other municipalities to be more active in trying to engage young people in the decision making, not only because that they have a say in what is decided, but also because it's also a great learning about democracy and personal competencies of speaking up and representing others. Then the other thing that we aim is to try to use the Erasmus Plus Youth and the European Solidarity Corps programs more adequately, because we know that these, as it was already said, I think by somebody, that these programs and these fundings can be used also for municipalities and by municipalities and by young people to develop youth participation in decision making through these projects. Then, of course, we would like to contribute to the discussion on democracy, local democracy, and engage young people in this general discussion in Europe that democracy should be developed. There are challenges of democracy which should be addressed and which should be improved in the coming decades. Otherwise, again, extreme extreme right-wing or extreme left-wing ideas will grow again and take away the air from democracy. And of course, we would like to support the national agencies in working with local municipalities. This, you see, the toolkit is available in English, French, Italian, Norwegian, Croatian, Slovak, Estonian, Portuguese, Dutch, and Hungarian, and some more languages are in the way. The next tool which will be available by September is a self-assessment tool. So anybody who will come to the website will be able to check where they are in light of the 24 competencies through a self-assessment exercise. And then it will also provide some feedback to the user or which elements they should and how they should focus on their learning process.
Maybe we will say goodbye and
thank you
for
everything,
your engagement and your involvement during this webinar. Thank you, and see you there.
If you have questions, you can always mail us. You can mail Laszlo. They have its mail, and maybe we'll see you in one proxima volta.
Okay.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
See you in Portugal and in Oslo.